I'm Veronica, and my life was supposed to be a simple love story. High school sweethearts, a courthouse wedding, and a tiny apartment filled with dreams. But beneath the surface, cracks have started to spiderweb through everything I thought I knew. Late nights at the diner, the weight of unspoken frustrations, and a dangerous temptation in the form of a man who sees right through my facade have turned my world into a ticking time bomb. My heart is a battlefield, torn between loyalty and a reckless hunger I can't ignore. What did I do in the shadows of that empty parking lot? And how will I ever face the man who's always been my safe harbor? Stick around, because the truth is about to unravel in a way I never saw coming. Picture this. A cracked coffee mug sitting on a wobbly kitchen table, the kind of mug that's seen too many late nights and early mornings, just like me. I'm Veronica, 23 years old, and I've got a story that's been brewing inside me, bitter and strong, waiting to spill out. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything, so settle in and listen close. My life, at least on the surface, looks like a simple sketch, black and white, no fancy colors. I'm married to Ethan, my high school sweetheart, who's 25 now and spends his days under the hood of cars as a mechanic. We've been together since I was 16, and back then, I thought love was all we'd ever need to make it through. We tied the knot 2 years ago, promising forever in a courthouse with peeling paint and a judge who barely looked at us. Now, we're holed up in a tiny apartment on the edge of town, where the walls are thin enough to hear the neighbors' arguments, and the rent is just low enough that we can scrape by. There's a certain charm to the creaky floors and the mismatched furniture we've scavenged, but charm doesn't pay the bills. I thought we were happy, or at least I told myself we were. Ethan comes home smelling of oil and sweat, and I've gotten used to the way he collapses on the couch, too tired to talk much. We've got our routines, dinner from a can, a quick kiss before bed, and sometimes, in the quiet of the night, we find ways to remind each other we're still in this together, tangled up in sheets and whispers, chasing. Here I am, clocking in for the night shift at Dino's diner, the neon sign flickering outside like it's as tired as I am. The place smells of grease and burnt coffee, a scent that's practically soaked into my skin after months of working here. It's just past 8 p.m., and the diner's already buzzing with its usual after-dark crowd. There's the truckers, hunched over their mugs of black sludge, their eyes heavy from long hauls, muttering to each other about routes and weather. Then you've got the late-night partygoers, all loud laughs and smudged makeup, piling into booths and ordering fries to soak up whatever they've been drinking. And every now and then, there's a lonely soul at the counter, staring into nothingness, like they're searching for answers in the bottom of a chipped ceramic cup. I weave through the chaos, balancing plates and forcing a smile, even though my feet are screaming after pulling a double shift. I'm wiping down a sticky table, humming along to some old rock tune crackling through the jukebox, when Lila, the other waitress on duty, nudges me with a smirk. "You see that guy at table 5? Ordered a burger with extra pickles, no bun. What even is that?" I roll my eyes and let out a tired chuckle. Maybe he's on some weird diet, or just trying to mess with us. We share a quick laugh, a small escape from the grind, before I'm back to scrubbing ketchup stains off vinyl seats. From the kitchen, Marco's voice booms over the clatter of pots and pans. "Veronica, pick up the pace. Orders ain't gonna walk themselves out to the tables." His tone cuts through the diner noise like a knife, sharp and demanding, as always. I sigh, wiping my hands on my apron, and head toward the kitchen to grab the next round of plates. But before I can get there, Marco calls out again, this time lower, almost a growl. "Veronica, when you're done with that, come to my office. Got something to discuss." My stomach twists a little at the way he says it, but I brush it off as exhaustion. I've been on my feet for hours, and Marco's always been a bit intense. Probably just wants to talk about the schedule or complain about something trivial. I nod, mutter a quick, "Sure," and get back to work, trying to ignore the odd feeling creeping up my spine. Later, after the rush slows down and the diner quiets to a dull hum, I make my way to Marco's office at the back, past the kitchen where the smell of grease lingers heavy in the air. I knock lightly on the door, and his gruff voice tells me to come in. Stepping inside, I'm hit with the cramped chaos of the space. Stacks of paperwork teetering on the desk, old coffee cups scattered like forgotten relics, and a flickering fluorescent light overhead that makes the whole room feel unsteady, like it's buzzing with tension. Marco's behind the desk, but he stands as I enter, shutting the door with a deliberate click that echoes in the small room. That sound, it locks something tight in my chest, a sudden unease I can't shake. I glance at him, expecting that cocky smirk he always wears, the one that says he owns this place and everyone in it. But it's gone. Instead, there's this intense, almost hungry look in his eyes, like a predator sizing up its next move. My skin prickles, and I take a half step back without even realizing it. He starts off casual enough, leaning against the desk, arms crossed. "You know, Veronica, I gotta say, you're the best waitress I've got. Always on time, never complainin', even when I know you're dead on." I'm standing in Marco's office, and the air feels like it's pressing down on me, thick and heavy with a suffocating heat that makes my skin prickle. The small room is a cage, the walls closing in, and the stale scent of old coffee mixes with the sharp edge of his cologne. A musky, overpowering wave that clouds my head and makes it spin. I can barely breathe as I stand there, caught in the intensity of his gaze, that predatory glint still burning in his eyes. My mind is a storm, a chaotic mess of thoughts tearing me in two directions, and I can't stop the flood of memories that crash over me. I see Ethan's hands, rough and calloused from years of wrenching on engines, smudged with grease as he works late into the night just to keep us afloat. I think of the way he always saves the last slice of pizza for me, even when he's starving, a quiet gesture of love that's become our unspoken ritual. My heart aches with the weight of what we've built, the life we've carved out together in that tiny apartment with its creaky floors and thin walls. Betraying him, betraying us. It feels like I'd be ripping apart the very foundation of who I am. But there's another voice inside me, quieter but insistent, whispering things I've tried to ignore for too long. I'm bored, restless, trapped in the monotony of this small-town life where every day bleeds into the next. Part of me craves something different, something wild and reckless, even if I know it's wrong, even if it burns everything to ash. And Marco, he's standing there, both repulsive and magnetic, a dangerous pull I can't ignore. His confidence is a dark tide, drawing me in, making my resolve waver with every second that ticks by under that flickering fluorescent light. I hate how he looks at me, like he already knows I'm teetering on the edge. But I can't deny the way it stirs something deep inside, a hunger I've buried under layers of routine and responsibility. My voice finally breaks the tense silence, barely a whisper, trembling as the last hour of my shift at Dino's Diner feels like it's stretching into eternity. Each tick of the clock above the counter hits me like a hammer, pounding against my already frayed nerves. I move through the motions, clearing tables with robotic precision, scraping off crumbs and wiping down sticky surfaces, trying to keep my mind blank. But it's impossible. Every few minutes, I catch myself stealing glances at Marco through the kitchen window as he works the grill, flipping burgers with that casual, unbothered air of his. He doesn't even look my way, and it makes me question everything. Did I imagine the tension in his office earlier? Was that look in his eyes just a trick of the flickering light? My stomach churns with doubt, but I can't shake the weight of the decision I've been wrestling with all night. Lila notices something's off, her concerned glances burning into me as I dodge her questions with a forced smile. "I'm fine," I mutter, avoiding her eyes, hoping she doesn't press further. Finally, at 2 a.m., the diner empties out. The last of the late-night stragglers shuffle into the darkness, leaving behind crumpled napkins and half-empty cups. I tell Lila I've got this, that I'm okay to lock up alone. She hesitates, her brow furrowing, but eventually nods and heads out with a quiet, "Take care, hun." The door swings shut behind her, and suddenly, it's just me and the eerie quiet of the diner after hours. The hum of the fridge is the only sound, a low, constant drone that fills the empty space as I finish up inside. Then I step out to the back lot, the cold night air biting at my skin, sending shivers down my spine. I wrap my arms around myself, waiting in the shadows, my breath visible in the dim glow of a single streetlight. My heart's racing, a mix of dread and adrenaline pumping through me, making my hands tremble. Then I see him, Marco's silhouette emerging from the darkness, looming larger as he approaches. My chest tightens, and I can barely breathe as he steps closer, his face half. As dawn creeps over the horizon, I'm sitting alone in a booth at Dino's diner, the world outside slowly waking up while I'm still trapped in the wreckage of last night. The greasy windows frame the sunrise, a pale gold light spilling across the empty tables, but it doesn't warm the cold hollow inside me. My apron lies crumpled beside me, a discarded skin of the person I was just hours ago. I stare at the streaks of light, trying to make sense of the storm in my chest, but all I feel is emptiness, a gnawing void where my certainty used to be. Guilt claws at my soul, sharp and relentless, tearing into me with every breath. Why did I say yes? Why did I let myself step over that line in the back lot, under the flickering streetlight, where shadows hid what I couldn't face in the open? I keep replaying that moment, the rush of heat and the weight of a choice I knew was wrong, a forbidden dance of temptation that left me stained with regret. I pull my phone from my pocket, my hands shaky as I dial Ethan's number. It rings a few times before his sleepy voice comes through, rough with the grogginess of early morning. "Hey babe, you okay?" he mumbles, and I can picture him rubbing his eyes, probably sprawled on our lumpy couch. My throat tightens, and I force out a lie, my voice thinner than I mean it to be. "Yeah, just tired from the shift. I'll be home soon." He grunts a soft acknowledgement, trusting as always, and the call ends. I sit there, the phone cold against my palm, feeling like I've just dug the hole deeper. How can I face him after what I've done? The drive home feels like a journey through a stranger's world. The familiar streets, lined with sagging power lines and faded storefronts, look alien now, as if I've stepped out of my own life and into someone else's. The early morning quiet is suffocating, broken only by the hum of my old car's engine and the occasional bark of a dog in the distance. My hands grip the steering wheel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.